we tend to one of two extremes. Either we steadfastly resist all change as suspect and dangerous, or equally challenging, we rush into things simply to make change the solution to everything. Choice is the solution to everything. The choices we make are the solution to everything. Change may or may not be. Marianne Williamson once wrote, "The deeper spiritual task is to achieve moderation by avoiding both extremes." The spiritual power and the spiritual imperative lie in the energy behind the choice, not necessarily in the immediate results. And that can seem frustrating sometimes, it can seem difficult to deal with, but in fact it's another sign of how infinite the love is that we call God. It's thoughts held in mind that produce after their kind, not actions taken or choices made. It's thoughts held in mind. And we have, as we were just discussing, a perfect outpicturing this week of the spiritual power and urgency of choice. On Tuesday, and I will be addressing those who will be voting on Tuesday, I realize that many of you will have already voted, but it's the energy and the truth is the same, of course. On Tuesday, we will make a number of election choices. And on Wednesday, thank God, we will be free for a while from all of those political advertising on television, which just make me crazy. I've always gotten annoyed when I saw Christmas advertising start early, and this year I was happy to see it because at least it's not political in nature. The point is, it's not an important choice because one party is good and one party is bad. If there were one thing we might find unanimity on across the length and breadth of our country, it's that neither political party perfectly fulfills our hopes and dreams, our creative memories. Yes, there's also a sense that this is a profoundly important choice before us. Not the lesser of two evils, but a clear-cut statement of choice that cannot help but impact our collective future. What's urgently important here is not what choice we make, but why we make the choice we do. We are called to be more awake and aware for this election than we have been before. And therefore the creative power of our choice will be greater than it ever has been before. Neither Republicans nor Democrats will be the solution to our problems. Neither one's election would dissolve or heal the challenges of the times we face. But the energy with which we make our choice is precisely the energy that can solve our problems and heal our challenges. Depends on why we're making the choices we make. And again, it all starts with thoughts held in mind. I had some discussion this week with some people who are sincere and well-intended in the passion with which they believe in Armageddon. You know, there are a lot of people who believe in Armageddon. There are a lot of people in political office who believe in Armageddon as a part of God's great plan. They are in some level encouraged by the current levels of conflict because they believe that it's a required precursor to the second coming. Those thoughts held in mind are going to affect every decision they make. And every decision they make will, in effect, help to create the conflict that so excites them. These people, every faith, every nation, share a passionate commitment to conflict as God ordained. They may give lip service to peaceful choices, but those choices are at odds with their inherent, innate, deeply held beliefs. So the choice we must make is not between what candidates say or even what they do, but what they believe, what core issues they espouse. And we must know clearly and without equivocating that we in unity see things differently. Our understanding of our very basic core relationship to God is very different. We do not believe that death, suffering, and war in any way represents the will of God. The Armageddonists would insist, quite correctly, on their right to make political choices according to those spiritual beliefs. They choose people who agree with those beliefs, and therefore the choices that come out of that are choices of conflict and war and chaos and lack and hunger and all of the qualities that you address so beautifully in your poem. We have seemed strangely reluctant to do the same. They are clear about what they believe and how they expect their government to behave. How clear are we about what we believe and how we expect the government to put creative spiritual understanding into expression? We may not live in a battleground state. I don't know if Massachusetts is a battleground state or not, but certainly Connecticut is not. But that doesn't mean that we lack the creative power to decide this election. Each of us is more than one vote. Each of us is in a link to infinite consciousness. This is our secret weapon. This is the truth we carry with us for this election and every election. And so, let's use it this Tuesday by not just casting a vote, but by consciously and prayerfully making a creative spiritual choice. An election that is not because I'm afraid of the other party, not because I'm angry at the other party, not because I'm angry at the world and I want somebody to change things, but because I'm making a choice for love. I'm making a choice for peace, for abundance. It's a big, big step forward, I think. I really do believe that this is the time is at hand. I think that in some ways the dichotomy, the split, is more obvious and more apparent now than it ever has been. It's expressing in some very painful ways in the synagogue in Pittsburgh, of all places. In the events that we see unfolding, in the events of the immigrants trying to find a better life for their children, to be forced to make a choice. Do we want to be an open, loving nation, or do we want to slam our doors and keep to ourselves? These are choices that we have to make as people. And we can't blame them on one party or the other. They're simply helping us see the choice that is there to be made. And the choice is there to be made is for us to be loving in our government, loving in our nation, loving in the way we treat each other. Not just the immigrants across the border, but the people down the street. Those who we may not agree with. We have to stand firm. We're not so good on standing firm, I sometimes think. We're so focused on peace and love that we don't stand firm and say, I stand firmly for peace and love. I don't just wander around hoping that it happens. We're trying to make it happen for me. I really stand firm with it. I really believe that this is what we need to do. So, does change need to happen? Sure, it probably does, but change isn't the answer. Choice is the answer. And choosing out of love, choosing out of a sense of gratitude, a sense of pride in who we are, in what we create together every day, because this nation, no more than this ministry, exists because it exists on its own. We create it. We create unity in the city together. We create this nation together. It is what we choose it to be. And we have a tremendous power in that choice. Much more than just one voice in many, but a voice of infinite power in a nation that is open and willing to hear that voice if we're willing to express it. So let it be indeed. As you sang earlier, and as we're going to sing again in a moment. In fact, let's just close by leading into Alicia's song. Let's just sit quietly where you are And close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And feel yourself a part of a great, great energy. Feel yourself one with human beings all over the world. Feel yourself dissolving unnecessary boundaries. Floating in an energy of infinite abundance and infinite possibility, where there is no need for fear or limitation. Or negative judgments of who is and is not deserving. Each of us is deserving, each individual on this planet. And it is in an affirmation of that oneness, of that unity, that we choose our leaders for this Tuesday, confident and grateful that they will then make the choices that will bring this unity into expression throughout the world. There are no limits. There's only love. And so on this election day, we choose love. On this election day, we feel the presence of love and we choose to let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. And so it is.
So.
Amen.